Heisman contenders, March Madness Cinderellas, Olympic-level talent. The energy of college athletics is unmatched. And every week, we highlight the most incredible performances, the biggest upsets, and the breakout stars that will become the next generation of professional legends. If it's trending, if it's dominating the headlines, it is officially noteworthy. Get ready for your all-access pass to the collegiate sports world. Welcome to Noteworthy in the NCAA, brought to you by the Empty the Bench Network. Now, let's join your host, Will Charlton.
"64 teams went down to 32. 32 became 16. 16 became 8. And now as we sit here on this final Monday of the best month of the year, only 4 teams still stand alive with a chance to cut down the nets this coming next Monday night in Indianapolis. I'm Will Charlton. Welcome to another episode of Noteworthy in the NCAA here on the Empty the Bench Network. Happy to have you with us as we recap what was an insane second weekend of the NCAA men's basketball tournament and give some predictions later on in the show of who I think will be cutting down the nets a week from tonight in Indianapolis. But before we get into it, make sure to head to youtube.com/ETB Network to check out all of our shows that we have available for you. Lots of great content available on our YouTube page. So if you missed any shows and you want to go rewatch any of them, that's the place to go. And make sure to follow all of our social media pages at ETB Network. That's on Twitter/X, Instagram, TikTok, and then you can follow the podcast I'm a part of, Forever Power 5 at FP5ETB on Twitter/X and Instagram, and then on TikTok at Forever Power 5, no caps or spaces. And you can follow me on Twitter, Will Charlton H13, and then on TikTok and Instagram at Will Charlton TV. So without further ado, let's get into the biggest, I think, storyline of the second weekend. And that took place in Washington, D.C. yesterday in the East Regional Final. To set the stage here, Duke led this game by as much as 19 points and held a double-digit lead for at least the first 12 minutes of the second half. And then UConn's championship DNA took over, and Duke suffers one of the most head-scratching collapses imaginable. So UConn cuts it to, I believe it was 7 points with 6 minutes to go. And that's the point where you're getting there. Like, I wasn't really even paying a lot of attention to this game because UConn was dead. The Huskies were dead in the water. They were dead to rights. And Duke, there was already a live line out for Duke's Final Four game against Illinois. And we'll get to Illinois in a minute here. But there was already a line for Duke, Illinois in the Final Four. That's how sure that it was that, Duke was a 3.5-point favorite over Illinois in the Final Four. That's how sure it was that Duke was going to the Final Four. The next thing you know, it's a 4-point game with, I think this is under 2 minutes now to go. Alex Caravan hits a 3. It's a 1-point game. It is 70-69. And then Cameron Boozer hits a 2 on the other end. And no, this is less than a minute now at this point. And next thing you know, it's now a 3-point game again. So then Silas Demery gets fouled on the other end. He goes 1 for 2 from the free throw line. And then chaos ensues. 10 seconds left. There are 10 seconds left. Literally 10 seconds. The worst thing Duke can do is turn the ball over. And all Duke has to do is hold on to the ball. You're up 2. There's 10 seconds left. You get a 10-second call. Oh, well. But next thing you know, Caden Boozer tries to just like hook shot a pass over two defenders. It gets deflected. UConn picks it up. Braylon Mullins has it. He dishes up to Caravan quickly. Caravan gets it back to Mullins, and he pulls up from the March Madness logo and just sinks it. Like, I was sitting on my couch, like, because I just could not believe what just unfolded in front of my eyes. This was seriously one of the craziest second halves of a basketball game you could have. This tournament has had this. I don't even know how to describe it. I still seriously don't have words to describe how in the world Duke sold that game. UConn was dead. Dead. Like I said, Duke led by as much as 19. And this is so crazy to me because the last 4 losses Duke has had going back to last year in the Final Four when they had a 15-point lead against Houston, Duke blew a second half lead. Earlier in the year, one of their 2 losses in the regular season, 17-point second half lead against Texas Tech. They lose that game. Earlier in this year, they have a 13-point second half lead against North Carolina. Seth Trimble hits a game winner, and Duke loses that one. And then in this one, they lead by as much as 15 points in the second half. It was a 15-point lead for Duke at halftime. It was 40-25. They were on top heading into the second half. I don't know what the issue with the Blue Devils is, but to have all 4 of your last 4 losses be in just an epic collapse, that's coaching. That's coaching. I'm not saying John Shire might not be the guy, but when that kind of thing happens, not just once, not just twice, not just 3 times, but a 4th time in your last 4 losses, it's not like Duke, it's a back and forth battle, against St. John's, for instance. Let's say St. John's beat Duke. Okay, you lost a game where it was back and forth the entire time. Oh, well, it's going to happen. It's March. No. For the second straight year, Duke loses a game they had complete control of. Complete control. UConn was 1 of 18 from 3 at one point and still won this game 73-72. 1 of 18 from 3. If you told me that a team was 1 of 18 from 3 at any point in a given game, especially this late into the tournament, I was like, oh, they got crushed. They weren't even remotely in the game. Nope. Silas Demery hits 2 huge threes down the stretch. Caravan hit the one that made it a one-point game in the final minute or so. And next thing you know, Braylon Mullins, the true freshman, former Mr. Indiana basketball, sends UConn to its 3rd Final Four in 4 years. Remarkable stuff. So the Huskies get a date with these guys, the Illinois Fighting Illini. When I tell you, as an Illinois alum, I have just had a constant smile on my face since Keaton Wagler was dribbling out the ball against Iowa. Whatever time it might have been. It's basically been a day and a half of just having a pure smile on my face. Every time every time it replays in my head, which it constantly has, that Kevin Harlan says it took 21 years, but Illinois is going back to the Final Four. It's just wow. I had to pinch myself over and over again because as a student, when I was at Illinois, 2021, the first year I had an Illinois team in March Madness, Loyola, the 9 seed over the 1 seed. The year after that, Illinois wins the Big Ten regular season. I got the storm of the court when Illinois beat Iowa in the final regular season game, one of the most memorable experiences of my life. And we lose to Houston in the round of 32. The year after that, you're a 9 seed. And you're playing 8 seed Arkansas in the first round, you lose that game. Then 2024 happens. And 2024 felt like the year that the figurative monkey had to get off the back. Illinois hadn't made a second weekend yet under Brad Underwood. And then next thing you know, they have just a beautiful, beautiful path to get there. You got to beat a 14 seed after you just won the Big Ten tournament. You're playing as one of the hottest teams in the country right now. Get past Morehead State. You get gifted a Duquesne team who somehow upset BYU, who was a damn good squad. I mean, that BYU squad was like, a lot of experts pick BYU to beat Illinois in the second round. BYU gets upset by Duquesne. Duquesne is now Illinois' team to get to the Sweet 16, and Illinois runs past them. The game was over right when the jump ball happened. Then Illinois gets to Boston in the East Regional with Iowa State as the opponent in a 2-3 matchup. UConn, San Diego State is the other game. Illinois survives against Iowa State, and I was in attendance. I went to Boston to go cover it. I still have my credential on the wall right here. You guys can see that right there. That's the Boston 2024 East Regional credential that I have. And to see Illinois win a Sweet 16 game in person, just remarkable. I seriously, it's probably still to this day my favorite game I've ever been to, as just in my life. Like to see what was probably then the biggest win in program history since, I don't know. I mean, probably since the Arizona comeback in 2005, more than likely. That was just unbelievably, it was crazy. And then the next game, Illinois plays UConn, the Elite Eight. It's tied at 23. And next thing you know, like 15 minutes of gameplay later, maybe not that much, maybe like 10 minutes of gameplay later, UConn reels off a 30-0 run. 30-0. And that UConn team was seriously one of the greatest, I think, sports, like college basketball teams that I've ever seen. I have a picture that I put on Twitter after Illinois won the Elite Eight game over Iowa, 71-59 the other day. And I'm going to share this with you guys here in 1 second. Let me get this up. So here it is. If you guys can tell, if I click on this photo closely, look at that. Look who's right there. That's me. That's me, and that's Terrence Shannon Jr. I was sitting courtside for Illinois UConn. I witnessed this debacle happen live. And it was seriously like, obviously as working media, you're not really supposed to like show what, like you're not allowed to like root or anything like that. Like, cause you're there as a worker, like you're not allowed to like show rooting interest. So I'm just sitting there, like literally watching this whole all unfold. And I'm just like this the entire time. Like, I'm just like this the entire time. Like, and you literally see it. I'm literally like that. And that's how I was the entire second half of that game. And now to see Illinois punch its ticket to the Final Four after what has been just a roller coaster of a year. I mean, Illinois has the 12 straight wins from late December to early February. Illinois gets ranked as high as number 5 in the country and then goes 4-5 in the final 9 games and then loses the Big Ten tournament opener against Wisconsin. I'm sitting here thinking like, yeah, we got a good path to get to the Sweet 16, but then you got to play Houston in Houston. Guess what Illinois did? They bullied the bullies. Illinois bullied the bullies. Illinois beat Houston at its own game. Just completely out-physicaled Houston. And literally, if you would have told me that the final score of that game was 65-55, it's like, okay, so Houston played their way they wanted to, and Illinois couldn't do anything. Nope, the exact opposite. Houston couldn't hit the right side of a barn from 3. They couldn't hit any shots at all. Like that was a bad showing from Houston. Houston played terrible in that game. But Illinois beat Houston at its own game. Because if you're telling me that a final score with a Houston team in it was 65-55, 10 times out of 10, I'm saying that's Houston who won that game. 10 times out of 10. Because that's not how Illinois has won games this year. until the start of this tournament. Illinois entered the tournament as the 29th best team on KenPom in defensive efficiency. And now, after they have only allowed teams to less than 60 points in the last 3 games, they're up to 20. So Illinois is now still currently the number 1 rated offensive team in KenPom and enter the Final Four as the 20th best defensive team. Those are 2 metrics right there that matter a lot. A lot. And when you look at like teams who have won national championships in the last, I think it's since 2000, that is a recipe for success for Illinois right there. That is a recipe for success. To have a top 20 offense and defense, that is huge. And when you look at KenPom, this is number 4. Illinois is number 4 in KenPom right now, even though they're a 3 seed. The metrics still love this team for good reason, because it's the tallest team in the country. I look at this Illinois and UConn matchup, and I'll preview it more in a little bit. But this is a favorable one for Illinois. It is. They played on Black Friday, and this was like granted like the 6th game of the season maybe. UConn won by 13 at Madison Square Garden, but Keaton Wagler, Illinois' star freshman, only played 13 minutes in the game. Illinois was still having like a huge rotation and didn't really know its identity yet. Now that Illinois knows its identity and is rolling right now, it's a completely different team. Like obviously UConn's a lot different. Silas Demery, we don't really know like what's going on with his health. He like I said, he made 2 huge shots against Duke to propel them into the Final Four, to put Braden Mullins in a situation where he can win the game with a 3. And it's from a matchup perspective, I think it favors Illinois. But yeah, just Illinois' path to get here. They beat VCU. I want to say the final score was 76-51, 75-51. I can't remember the exact final score. But then they beat Houston 76-55. That's what it was, 76-55. So in the last 3 tournament games, Illinois has held all 3 opponents to under 60 points. Granted, this was a team who in the Big Ten tournament quarterfinal led up 91 to Wisconsin. And the whole question about this Illinois team was, can they defend? Can they defend? And I don't know what really like happened in the span of literally 2 weeks for Illinois to go from this team who was like, yeah, they can score the ball with anybody, but they can't really play great defense. Now all of a sudden, Illinois is looking like one of the best defensive teams left in the field. And even when you were at the Elite 8, Illinois was looking like one of the best defensive teams in the field. So it's just, it's unbelievable that Illinois is in the Final Four. It's a reality. If you're an Illinois fan and watching this, it's a reality. The Fighting Illini are in the Final Four. And I'm a damn proud alumni. I'm so happy for Brad Underwood in his 9th year, who has had so many he's had so many really quality teams that just haven't been able to get past, like a UConn, for instance, or played the 9th best team in KenPom in Loyola Chicago when you were a 1 seed in the round of 32. There have been a lot of quality teams Brad Underwood has had, but this one, with the height they have, with the size advantage that they're going to have against any team left, especially a UConn, Illinois is capable. Illinois is certainly capable of winning it all. Even though they're a 3 seed, they are certainly capable of being the team that cuts down the nets in Indianapolis on next Monday night. And the last thing I'll say about Illinois from here, Andrei Stojakovic coming off the bench, and Brad Underwood has said this like a lot since they made this switch. Brad Underwood feels like they have 8 starters on this team. And having a guy like Andrei Stojakovic come off the bench and be just a spark plug. Like, Andrei Stojakovic has been Illinois' biggest X factor in this tournament, and that's without a doubt. Like, I know that Mirkovic has been playing great. He had him and Wagler double-doubles against Houston. Phenomenal. First freshman duo. I can't remember what the stat was, but I think it was literally the first freshman duo to have a double-double in tournament history. I think that's what it was. To have those 2 guys be kind of the ones that lead the way, and then have a Stojakovic to come off the bench and just be as dominant as he was. Stojakovic took over the game against Iowa. Like, When Illinois got down 12-2 and Stojakovic came in the game, he completely shifted momentum. He shifted momentum against VCU. He took over early against Houston. I think he had 12 first half points in a game where, what was it? It was between 9 and 10, but Illinois only led 24-22 at halftime, and Stojakovic basically had half of Illinois' points in the first half. And then he comes in and just provides a huge spark boost to Illinois against Iowa. So Andrei Stojakovic has been seriously one of the biggest difference makers in this tournament off the bench. And if he can still prove to be that against UConn, Illinois can certainly win that game. So now let's Christy Wilson, have you pinched yourself yet? Yes, I have, Christy. Numerous times. Yeah. Because it's still so hard to believe that it's real. But yes, numerous times, Christy. So now let's talk about Arizona. Arizona is just rolling. And to see what they did against Arkansas, for instance, I mean, they ran Arkansas out of the gym. Arizona in the Sweet 16 ran a really, really good Arkansas team out of the gym. I mean, I just like, when I was watching that game, it was close for a bit, but Arizona was up by 20 like the whole second half. And Arkansas was like, that's a damn good squad. That's the SEC tournament champion. Darius Acuff, arguably the best freshman in the country on that team. But the one issue is Arkansas could not put up with Arizona's physicality. Arizona then translated that over into a game with Purdue where they're down by 7 at halftime. Purdue looks good. Purdue looks solid. The Boilermakers look really good. They have Arizona in a tough spot. They're feeling good heading into halftime, up 31-30 or 38-31. Braden Smith playing well. Trey Kaufman-Renn is playing well. Fletcher Lawyer hadn't really got going yet, but he hit a shot or two. And then all of a sudden, Arizona snaps into the basketball they've been playing. Arizona outscored Purdue 48-23 or 26. 48-26 in the second half. And they win the game 78-66. 79-64, sorry. 79-64. Arizona dominated the second half, and Purdue looked lost the whole time. And honestly, Fletcher Lawyer hit like a three with like no time left, and to make it the 15-point game. So Arizona realistically won this game by 18 points. Purdue had been playing phenomenal basketball. Phenomenal. What was it? They had won 7 in a row. They won 4 games in 4 days of the Big Ten tournament, and then they reeled off 3 straight, including a buzzer beater win against Texas, essentially. So Purdue had been playing some damn good ball. And then to see Arizona just come out and dominate Purdue in the second half, it's like, Arizona had been my national champion pick since the start of the tournament, and they look so good. They look so good. They had into their first Final Four since 2001. So they break a lengthy streak. And I hate the stats so much, but it is kind of important to mention. Arizona in 1997, when they won their lone national championship in program history, that is the last time a team west of the Mississippi River has won a national championship. So I hate that stat so much, but it's true. It's true. So Arizona can become the first team since they did it to win a national championship west of the Mississippi River. And hey, the last time they did it, it was also in Indianapolis. So, I think that this Arizona team is rolling into the Final Four, and holy shit, folks. I mean, we have seriously one of the most unbelievable analytical matchups imaginable that we could have in the Final Four, because Arizona is who's KenPom number 2 will be facing KenPom number 1 Michigan. This is 2 of the highest rated teams in KenPom history playing for a spot in the national championship. Not the national championship, a spot in it. When I'm going to pull up KenPom here, and I will show you guys the difference between even these two and number 3 Duke and number 4 Illinois. So let me share my screen here real fast so I can show you the KenPom ratings. So when you look at this, Michigan is just slightly above Arizona. It's a very, very slim margin. But Michigan has the 5th best offense and the 1st best defense. Arizona has the 4th best offense and the 2nd best defense. And compare these two to Duke. Arizona is a whole 1.5 in terms of their net rating higher than Duke. Michigan is a whole 1.8 essentially. But those two are close. Those two are close. And I mean, man, like even above an Illinois team who passed Houston because they obviously beat Houston head-to-head in the Sweet 16. It's not close. I mean, these two teams are seriously 2 of the highest analytical teams in men's basketball history. Seriously. And it's for good reason. Michigan has looked unstoppable in the 4 games leading up to the Final Four. They had weird problems in the first half, kind of, against the 16 seed Howard. It was only like a 4-point lead at half. I think it was 50-46 Michigan led at halftime. And then, so I think one of the biggest concerns I have with Michigan is, and this was completely like taken away by Tennessee, and we'll get to that in a second. It took a while to run away from the 16 seed Howard. They won that game by 21, but it took a while to run away. They still allowed 80 points to Howard. St. Louis, same deal. I mean, against 9 seed St. Louis, they were up 9 at halftime. But it took a while to finally get going. It took till the second half to really start running away. And then in the game against Alabama, Michigan was down by 2 at halftime. So it's like, yeah, they've dominated like in the second half, and then Tennessee they completely dominated because they went on a 21-0 run against the Volunteers in the Elite Eight to completely shelve it. I mean, I think Tennessee, because they ended up winning the game 95-62, and it was just a dominant performance. Tennessee shot terrible from the field. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think Tennessee only made 8 field goals in the total first half. I think that's it. I think if I read that correctly. But for the game, they only made 24 as a team, and they only hit 5 threes. So Michigan dominated that game against Tennessee from start to finish, and it wasn't even close. Like, I think Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken, Tennessee had a lead like 16-15 early on, and then from there, 21-0 run. And next thing you know, Michigan is up 48-26 at halftime. Michigan's playing some damn good basketball right now too. And I will say this, and we'll come back to this game in a second, but Michigan is certainly playing like one of the more high-powered teams out there. But this Michigan-Arizona matchup is going to be just unbelievable. With how both these teams are playing right now, I think I lean more Arizona just because of how kind of more dominant they've been. But man, I mean, on paper, this matchup is just absurd. So yeah, Michigan playing some great ball. They, like I said, the 21-0 run against Tennessee, heartbreak for Tennessee. I mean, they've made the Elite Eight 3 straight years, and they've lost at this stage in the last 3 tournaments. They lose to Purdue 2 years ago, lose to Houston last year, and this year you just get demolished by Michigan. And all 3 of the games haven't necessarily even been close. I mean, They gave Purdue a few years ago a pretty good run in Detroit, but last year against Houston, they got crushed. This year against Alabama or Michigan, they get killed. So, I mean, hey, hats off to Tennessee. They had a phenomenal run. As a 6 seed to get to the Elite Eight, phenomenal run. They crushed they kind of crushed America's team in the first round, Miami of Ohio. Then they went on to beat the 3 seed Virginia in the round of 32 after they almost blew it. And then they go on and just dominate Iowa State. I mean, if you guys watch the Iowa State game against Tennessee, Iowa State just looks so bad. I mean, I don't even want to look it up because seeing Iowa State shoot free throws in that game, it was like, yeah, they have been a terrible free throw shooting team this year. And it's no wonder that it came back to hurt them. Obviously, they didn't have Joshua Jefferson. That's a huge loss. But Iowa State was like going 1 of 2 every single time from the free throw line, sometimes 0 of 2. And it was just so hard to watch because if they make half those free throws, they're in the game. But Tennessee found a way to get it done and upset the 3 and 2 seeds in back-to-back rounds. So hats off to the Volunteers for a very good run once again. But just another heartbreaker for Rick Barnes and company. So let's get into the Final Four preview. And let's go circle back to Illinois UConn. Illinois opens this game as a 2.5-point favorite. I can't say I'm shocked just because of the matchup perspective. I think Illinois wins this game. I think Illinois wins this game in a very close contest. Illinois is 0-5 in games decided by 3 points or less this year. But I think this is the game where they put a 1 in that column. UConn, obviously, they are the one team in this bracket of the 4 remaining that have been to this stage before. Dan Hurley is a phenomenal coach. He's won 2 national championships, obviously, and they're back in the Final Four once again. But something just tells me the way Illinois is playing right now, the way the defense has been, and the matchup perspective, I don't think Terrace Reed is going to be able to go nuclear like he did against Duke. Terrace Reed had 26 points. No, he had more than that. He had 26 at one point. How many points did Terrace Reed have? I should know this because I was following it pretty closely. So he did finish with 26. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought I saw. So yeah, Terrace Reed had 26 in the win over Duke. He won't be able to do that against Illinois. He won't be able to because the 2 Ivisic brothers down low are going to crash. They're going to be there against Reed. Mirkovic will come down and crash as well. Illinois is not going to let Terrace Reed dominate them down low. It's not going to happen. So if UConn wants to win this game, Demery's going to have to hit shots. Caravan's going to have to hit shots. Mullins is going to have to hit shots. And Ball's going to have to hit shots. Those 4 guys, and then Malachi Smith will have to facilitate well, too, when he comes off the bench. UConn is not going to be able to win this game down low. And if they want to beat Illinois once again this year, it's going to have to be from the outside. Because the way Illinois has been playing, I look at this matchup and I'm like, I think this favors Illinois pretty well. I think Illinois is definitely, from a matchup perspective, the better team here. And if Illinois can play the defense that it has been in the last 3 games, they might win this game kind of comfortably, honestly. Now, it depends on the offensive side because Illinois only went 3 of 17 from 3 against Iowa. They have to hit more than that in this game. They have to at least, I think hit like at least 8. I think they have to at least hit 8 threes in this game. Whether that comes from Keaton Wagler, Mirkovic, Ben Hummerkaus, Jake Davis, whoever it may be, it has to happen. And I think that Illinois is going to be able to get what it wants to inside, but I think Illinois certainly has to hit more threes. They were able to play that around because they're just so much bigger than Iowa. So much bigger than Iowa. I mean, Iowa's tallest guy they had in the court at a given time was, I think, 6'10", if not 6'9". So Illinois certainly has to hit more threes in this game. And I think they will. I think it will. So I'm taking Illinois to win a close one. I got Illinois winning this one 74-70 as of now to move on to play for a chance for a national championship next Monday night. And then Arizona, Michigan. I mean, this game is so unbelievably hard to predict. Man, it's just like this one is going to be going back and forth the whole time because both teams are just playing so good. And And so many people have been saying like this is the national championship game. It's not. I can promise you it's not. Because if I'm correct about Illinois, they're going to have to match up against an Illinois team, which is the tallest team in the country. And that's going to be hard to win too. I mean, this Final Four, like let's be honest here, folks. This Final Four is just sensational. Like this is a sensational Final Four that we have coming up this weekend and next Monday. Like these two games on Saturday should be instant classics. These two games on Saturday should be just must-watch TV. Like this is what you want to see in the Final Four. It's not like 2 years ago where we had, who was UConn playing? Miami? Yeah, UConn was playing Miami, and then San Diego State was playing Florida Atlantic. Granted, the FAU San Diego State game was incredible, but this is like, when you look at it from an analytical standpoint, UConn is actually the worst team left, which is hilarious to say. From an analytical standpoint, the team who has been here, done that, knows how to win this time of year is the worst team standing. And it's not even close. Like if you pull this up again, look at UConn. They're 9. And then Illinois, Arizona, and Michigan are all top 4. So it's like, it's pretty wild how just UConn's kind of like defied the odds to get here. Because even like Michigan State, for instance, that was 9 versus 10 in KenPom, and Michigan and UConn found a way to pull that one out after almost giving up a huge lead. So I'm riding with Arizona to beat Michigan, though. I think the way Arizona has been playing, I think the way that they're going to be able to be physical down low, they're not going to really be able to get too many great paint looks because of Adai-Mar and Morez Johnson being down there for Michigan. But I do think Koa Pete will still get his own. I think Jaden Bradley's going to hit some big jumpers. And I think Braden Burries will hit threes when he needs to and also get downhill when he needs to. Michigan is not impossible to score on down low. They're very hard to. But Arizona, with how physical they are, they certainly can do it. And I think this is a game that is decided in the final minute. The final minute. It might be a game-leading shot or a game-leading three or something like that. But I got Arizona winning 81-79 in this one. I think Arizona wins this game by 2. And it might be because of like I don't know if it's a last-second shot or if it's a late shot, but I think this game is decided in the final minute. Michigan might tie it and with like 40 seconds left, and then Arizona hits a game winner. That might be how it goes. But this game is going, I mean, if it lives up to the billing, this game could be seriously one of the greatest games we've ever seen before. I'm dead serious. This game will be sensational, and I'd be shocked if it isn't. Stunned. So I got Arizona playing Illinois in the national championship. And as much as it pains me to say it, as much as it really just, I hate to say it, I don't think Illinois is going to have the firepower to be able to beat Arizona. I think even though Illinois has been just kind of, honestly, like a team of destiny, it kind of seems like, just to have the path they had to get to this Final Four position where you have a golden opportunity to break a 21-year streak against a team you're better than in Iowa after you beat a really good Houston team. Arizona, in my opinion, has been the best team in the country all year, and I still am riding with my original pick that Arizona is going to win it all. It's going to be – Illinois can certainly match up well with Arizona just because of the size and just because Illinois likes to be physical as well. But I think Arizona is just going to be a little too much in the end. And I got the Wildcats, unfortunately, beating my Fighting Illini next Monday night for the national championship. So we'll find out, though. These games on Saturday tip off at 6 Eastern. UConn and Illinois is the first one, and then Michigan and Arizona will follow in suit. And then next Monday will be the last game of the college basketball season. And we will hear Luther Vandross and David Barrett go to work for 3 minutes in what should be just a phenomenal rendition of One Shining Moment right afterwards. So before we log off for the show today, I do want to get to some women's basketball because I haven't really been able to talk about women's basketball at all on the show here. We're down to the Elite Eight. Two of the Final Four teams have already been punched, and it's not shocking who it is. It's UCLA and UConn, the two best teams all year. UConn's still undefeated, just cruised their way through the regional to get to the Final Four. Beat Notre Dame, was a 6 seed, and the final score is 70-52, I think it was. Let me double check that. Yeah, 70-52. And UConn's closest game, that was UConn's closest game so far. Only beating Notre Dame by 18. And Notre Dame had a phenomenal run. They beat a 3 seed Ohio State in the road. Then they beat Vanderbilt, a 2 seed in the Sweet 16. So Notre Dame had a really good run led by Hannah Hidalgo. But, man, I mean, AZ Fudd and company, and just UConn is just – and Sarah Strong and Gino Auriemma, once again, just always finds a way to put just an unreal team on the court. Unreal team. Every single year. Every single year. How many games have they won in a row now? I think it's like 50-something. $54 games. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was in the 50s. Yeah, they've won 54 straight. Wow. That is just sensational. And then the UCLA women only have 1 loss this year. And they kind of, you know, they faced a little adversity in the game against Duke yesterday in the Elite Eight, but they find a way to end up winning that by 10. They were trailing at halftime, 38-31 or 39-31. So they were down 8 points at halftime. And this UCLA team been a team that cruised through Big Ten play, cruised through it in a league filled with very good teams. But then UCLA just, their size took over. Duke wasn't getting good looks at the rim, and UCLA off to the Final Four as well. And then tonight, the 2 games left to go in the Elite Eight, you have Michigan playing Texas, and then TCU playing South Carolina. Yeah. So those games coming up here pretty soon, actually. So, yeah, Michigan playing Texas, 2 versus 1 matchup, and then TCU versus South Carolina in a 3 versus 1. The thing about women's basketball is it's so hard not to pick the 1 seeds, because the 1 seeds are just usually so much better than the rest of the field. But something tells me that Michigan can beat Texas. No. I'm gonna ride with Texas to beat Michigan, and then does TCU have decent chance to beat South Carolina? They were the best team in the Big 12 before they lost the Big 12 championship game. No, I'm gonna ride with the 1 seeds. I think that's what I have in my women's bracket anyway. I'm pretty sure I have all 1 seeds making it. Let's just double check though real fast before I log off here for the day. I'm actually doing pretty good in my women's bracket. I'm top million right now and have 890 points. Yeah, I took all 1 seeds. So I'm gonna roll with it. I'm rolling with it, and I think that's how it's gonna go. I think that's how it's going to go. I think it's going to be all 1 seeds. And then I got UConn playing UCLA in the championship game. And give me the Bruins. Give me the Bruins to win it all on the women's side. Give us a Big Ten title on the women's side. If UConn does play UCLA in the championship game, that will be must-watch television. That game would be sensational. UCLA's only loss this year. I'm trying to remember who it was. It was out of conference. Maybe it was UConn. Where do we got to go back to here? They lost to Texas. Texas is their only loss. Okay. So, yeah. That would that'd be fun. Hopefully it is UCLA versus UConn, the women's championship. That is Friday, Sunday in the Final Four national championships. So that will be fun to keep track of. But yeah, that'll do it for this edition of Noteworthy in the NCAA. Thank you so much for tuning in. Another longer episode, but appreciate you sticking it out this whole time. If you were watching the whole time, appreciate you a lot. And enjoy the Final Four for both men's and women's. It will be a lot of fun. I unfortunately will not be on next Monday for another episode, but yeah, just enjoy it. It should be a phenomenal weekend of basketball, and I personally am so excited. And one last message to everyone out there: ILL. We'll catch you next time on the program. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Will Charlton. Have a good one.